Thank you for being here. Been going around this forum quite a bit. Did you get to attend any other sessions that you found interesting?
Yeah, I went to a couple yesterday.
Yeah.
There was one about analytics.
Analytics. Okay, great.
Customer experience.
Customer experience. Okay, that's great words because I want to know how many people, maybe later on toward the end of the session, what people think of digital transformation, what people think about omni-channel experiences, because that's one of the things that people don't put their head around, and it means different things to different people. So before we jump into that, let me introduce myself. I am Prashant Kumar. I am the SVP for Solutions and Strategy at TechBlogs. I'm also one of the founders. And I'll talk about TechBlogs later on in the session, but I love technology. I love user experience. I think the art and science of technology and marriage, therein lies somewhere the perfect experience which all consumers and stakeholders look for, and that's where the key to all the successes are. So today we are going to basically break those down into different small pieces, digestible, so that it provides everybody at the end of the day something that you can do. What happens today, I saw a lot of sessions around big data. We talk about analytics. We talk about IoT. We talked about all these various things, but what businesses are struggling with is how do you leverage all these things into a executable solution. There are outcomes that you desire, then there are these various pieces of technology which we call the digital disruption, whether it's cloud, with analytics, big data. How do these things come together, and where do you start? There were people talking about strategy in one of the strategy sessions. Hey, we should have lean startups. What does that mean? You should select the right group of people. Around what? These are some of these questions we should talk about and how to start. So we'll cover some of that and put some raw materials around that so that today, especially in telecom, we can understand what these words mean. So first, starting off, what is omnichannel? And if you go around, the typical definition that you will find is a unified experience across channels and across service divisions. What does that mean? If you were 10 years ago, if you were shopping, most of the times you would go into Best Buy, walk into Best Buy, or a Tele store or a Rogers store. You would say, I want a phone. I want a nice phone. And they'll say, here's the phone. They'll tell you what the features are. That's as far as where they would go. Today, that's not the way you would shop. Today, you would learn about a phone in multitude of ways, not just internet. You could learn it on social media. You can be learning about it while you are actually playing an Xbox game. Your son, your daughter, or some of your friends might be talking about, hey, while playing, this is something that cool that has happened. Or new product or new service can be talked about in a similar way. So you can learn about these new products and services from multitude of channels. What are those channels? Some of the most common channels are kind of on the screen here. You can see, one of the most boring ones is customer service. We know we are humans, we love talking to people, but we hate talking to people when it comes to solving my problems, right? Nobody likes to call the call centers. Does anybody here like to call centers? So, mobile, we love mobile, but again, we don't want to use the mobile to talk to people. We want non-disruptive ways. Remember when you go on vacation and suddenly a text comes in talking about, hey, you want to activate your data plan? Fantastic. You love that, don't you? Non-disruptive way. You want to go on the beach, not talk to an agent while listening to music, right? How many of you have used chats, online chats and social to get some customer service and so on and so forth? Don't you love that? The most important thing when you go to websites is you try to find out what is the phone number I should be calling at. Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, nowadays, go to any of these sites, they always want you to use chat, right?
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper than calling, right?
Well, more importantly than that, it's the experience in the customer. It's a non-disruptive experience, right? We want to know. So one of the most I have used it foremost one time, like very naively, to say, hey, can you just tell me which number to call for the billing instead of being redirected 4 times, which is kind of very annoying. So that's fantastic, right? And we can talk about store, and in a bit I'll talk about online and offline channels and how they kind of, that entire experience is kind of merging. And the fact that how can you use those experiences across devices. So mobile has also, we kind of throw around the word mobile so loosely, mobile. What does that mean? Does it mean a cell phone? Does it mean an iPad? Does it mean a car, IoT of devices? What does it mean? Actually, it means all of that. What it means is mobility is a lifestyle. It's not a device. So you have to build as a telecom company, and I'm being specific to telecom in here because of the nature of the forum, but this applies to other verticals as well. You have to build experiences for that lifestyle, not for a device. And when you start thinking about experiences and devices, that's when the world changes, and we'll come to that in a bit. But what is omnichannel? Sharing services, that's another common thing, right? Sharing services, it's extremely important. We love sharing, right? Family plans. Nobody likes to waste data, waste time, right? So how do you share some of those across? Now, remember that this data, the devices, there's a huge proliferation of devices. And the guys are already talking about IoT. We haven't even figured out how to share stuff between our cell phone and iPad, and we're already talking about, hey, your fridge is going to talk to me. Wait, how do they figure out how to provide these telecom companies, or whoever these companies are going to be, going to provide a unified experience across all these devices? Share stuff, because people love to share. I don't want to pay $20 for a year, $40 for a year, $30 for a year. Remember that? Every device has a separate data plan, a separate phone plan, separate voice plan, and try calling into the call center and let them try to figure out. It's going to be fun, right? That brings me to my next point, that there is consumer behavior is changing. Why is it changing? Because technology has changed. How we leverage our phone 5 years ago and today is changed. What do we use our phones and devices yesterday and today has changed. So consumer behavior is changing. I've been given only 25 minutes to speak today. I was being interviewed on a television show about entrepreneurs a few days ago. I had 20 minutes there, and I'm like, what is going on with this world? I was born in late 70s. People had time, and they could spend more time for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, more than that, for quality conversations. Now, if you lose your audience in first 3 minutes, they're gone. They're on the phone, Facebook. I was watching that, people doing that while the other guy was speaking. I'm like, this guy must be boring. I feel bad for him, right? I have some news for you. People are not doing just this to that guy. They are going to do this to your business. If you are in business today, if you are in marketing, if you are in telecom company, or if you are in a retail, it doesn't matter. Those same people are going to do that to your business tomorrow. They have very short attention spans. They demand a higher level of engagement. They want a great experience. If you cannot provide them that, you are behind the 8 ball. You're already playing catch up. So it's very amusing when you see the other person at the end of it. But at the same time, we are in boardrooms trying to solve the same problems, and we ignore the very fact that is right there staring us at its face. Our children are doing that to us. Our friends are doing it when we are sitting in the restaurants. Why? Because they demand experiences. Why people go to Apple to pick up the phone, not go to Rogers to pick up the same damn phone? Question. Don't I love the experience. It's not the Apple, it's the experience that you pay for. You go online, you book the device, you choose the color, you choose the store. You don't want that interruption, it will be shipped. Check the time slot, skip the line, go there, pick the phone, there's somebody to smile and give the phone to you and explain stuff. You remember when we used to get to Best Buy, and there used to be this cool dude who used to like tell you devices and what are the differences between devices, and if your habits is more around you're a traveler, then this device is great. If you are this persona, then this device is great. And then everybody else you didn't want to talk to because this guy could just talk to you. The problem is, going back to that old slide, if you started employing so many people to provide so many experiences, which becomes logistically impossible, your cost would be crazy, high. And you will fall short of humans. That's why technology, that's why we have channels, because you can control that message. You can provide a controlled experience, but then you need to carry that experience across channels. You cannot give them a great experience on one channel, that guy who spoke to you, and the moment you go to other one, it's disappointment all over the place. People, the way they're interacting with you has changed. The old cycle when you went to go and buy a phone, and it would show you multiple phones, and then you go home after knowing that, and then you come back again and say, now tell me about the plans. Somebody will tell you about the plans. Oh, he forgot about the text. Now I need my phone for my wife. You again repeat the cycle. No more. Now, your entire engagement cycle is completely different. And in a bit, I'm going to talk about experiences and how these translate into solutions and how companies should solve this riddle. But be patient with me for 5 more minutes. Today's awareness, it was much more linear cycle of engagement before. Today, you can come in and be aware at any point of time. But at any point of time, consumers are doing their research. I was speaking to this gentleman before the call. He said, tech blogs. Who is tech blogs? Video, audio, who's this guy? Check me out before I got on stage. They're doing that with your products. They're doing that with your services. They are doing it with your offerings. They are comparing your product, service offerings with other offerings at any point of time. At every stage of this engagement, they are challenging you. There's a challenger's mentality. If you're not engaging your audience, if you're not engaging your stakeholders, they're not going to be with you. The cycle has changed. And they're expecting more. Consumers are expecting more. No more do they want you to give you what you just asked for. You know, Steve Jobs has famously said, it's not the client's job to know what they want. It's your job to find out and tell them what they want. I came to buy a phone, but I might want an ecosystem. I might want a data plan. What is my lifestyle? How do I go? You should ask those questions. It's consultative. And even better if you can make that entire experience just between the person and something that they can relate to without human error. And we'll come to that in a bit. So, at every stage in the cycle, people are connecting, people are verifying, people are seeing what the other things are, and people are not buying just product or one product, they're buying a suite of products and services. Isn't it a paradox considering that we don't like to be sold to, but we like to buy stuff? Because we buy experiences. We don't buy product, we don't buy services, we buy experiences. Hence, today's modern engagement cycle, because of the various different channels that we go to current challenges. I have already harped on it a lot. This leads me into the most important one. The first one I was talking about, the customer demands have changed. But they have changed because the persona of your customer has changed. The way people consume the devices, how they are doing it. And I'm going to come to some very interesting cycles of what consumers are today doing and what big telecom companies are doing and what you should experience just in a bit. And these changes are already happening. They will just start experiencing some of these if you haven't experienced those already. Consumer demands, right? Customer demands are changing because of their habits, I just spoke at length about that. How many of you have had the nightmare of calling into a customer center of your phone carrier? Isn't it beautiful?
No.
You go for one bill guy. I'm not going to name the company. I am from X, one bill. Fantastic. This guy is going to take care of everything. My data, my internet, my cable, everything. Nightmare starts. The person is no more than a dumb secretary you could hire. Oh, you want internet? Yes, sir. Let me put you on hold for 5 more minutes. Ding, 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 ding. Some other person comes in. Sir, what's your first name? What's your last name? Dude, I just gave it to you. Takes you 20 minutes. God forbid if you have to talk about 2 or 3 other services that you have from the same company, you can be on the phone, watch the entire Super Bowl right there, right? Just being on the phone. And if you have a serious life where you're busy, God help you. You can be on the phone all day long. And wait till you see all the mistakes they cause in their billings, right? And you call them, it takes fun. It becomes so fun, right? Because you have a different contract for phone. You have a different contract for everything, right? So, amazing customer experiences, right? Data disconnect between these organizations. And that impacts your experience. Integration of online and offline channels. The big words, right? What the hell does this mean? Online, offline, offline, online. Seems more like internet going on and off on me, right? So, how many of you have had experiences where your experience carries on from devices to real life? Show of hands, please. Anyone who has experienced which one? Uber. Fantastic, my dear friend. In telecom, where else have you seen it? Have you seen it anywhere?
There's an app that allows you to order your lunch and go pick it up
Beautiful. You do that with phones. I just gave an example, Apple. It carries over. That's a great example. Funnily speaking, everybody tries to copy Apple, but all they do is they paint the wall in the same color and make it monochrome and color, and they say font and size, and we have Apple experience. They don't provide you the experience, the same convenience. They will not train the people to provide the same quality of interaction, but they will paint the wall and they will make it black and white. Clear font should be the same, and then that's the customer experience. So, okay. I will give you some examples in a few minutes of what online, offline channels are. I am the ultimate geek, eh? I see hologram becoming our ultimate offline experience, which will carry on from here to the stores. I don't see future of retail, whether it's telecom and stuff, being with a lot of goods on the store, because it saves cost, provides you experience, allows you to feel stuff, and with one click, buy what you want. That's going to be the future. But we are going to talk about some online, offline experiences. One of the most important ones, how many of you have iPhone ecosystems here? Laptop is iPhone, Apple. Do you like the handoff thing? You go from browser and you are about to go and you just checked something and you're like, shit, I want this session. Or you are like researching on some topic that you wanted to speak on your office iMac or a MacBook Pro, and then you went home and shit, I had like 4 of those important tabs that were open and I wanted to know that. What is that? You wanted to open the same tabs because you were studying about it and you want to research again at night? Go to that. Did you know that you could do that? It's fantastic, right? Then why can't we carry the same experience into telecom? Why can't I be on a phone and on certain kind of phone and carry the conversation from there into store, not having to repeat the story all over again? Some questions, and we'll come to those experiences in a bit. How they're applicable in real life scenarios. Contract management, I don't want to harp on a dead horse, but you understand, you get my message. Technology, it was supposed to solve all the problems. See, IoT is there. Encourage you to use IoT. What for? Don't ask me, but I encourage you to use IoT. Nobody wants to talk about experiences. Nobody wants to talk about how real life use case scenarios, but I encourage you to use IoT. Fragmented, this is the problem. If you're thinking, why is this? Prashant talked about all these problems. But why is this? Because we work with some of the biggest telecoms here in Canada. We know what goes on behind the scenes. It's a lot of dysfunction. And I'm about to say later on, use this term a lot. Tail wagging the dog rather than the dog wagging the tail. And that's usually with technology folks. They're the coolest folks, but they create more problems than they solve. Right? And they convince you that the solution they're offering is the best solution even though you might hate it. And you need it. How many times have you been told that if you have worked in a business, right? So fragmented systems. So the moment you go into these businesses, they have one system for billing and provisioning. Billing, when you are a new customer, you are billed, you are provisioned what your contract is and all that. There's a system for that. Then there's a system for customer relationship management, where they monitor all the things you do on a daily basis. Then there's a system for promotions and devices. Every system works differently. And all those systems are product focused. They are focused on what I want to offer you. Isn't it upside down? Shouldn't I be asking what experience you want and what do you want, and then be designing my experience around you? Think for a second how we want, everybody's preaching here, but when it comes to implementation, we have it upside down. So, legacy systems, big data, we talked about. There's a lot of legacy systems. What do you do with these legacy systems? How do you fit in? You cannot throw everything away because there's a lot of investments in those, right? How do you fit in those but bring in the new systems and make them work to have a final mobile application? Data comes from different, you work for building mobile application, but this mobile application data comes from your CRM system, from your provisioning system, from all these different systems. To have an amazing experience, you need to hide those complexity behind. It's like Google, right? You get one search engine, but the complexity behind that is hidden from you. How do you manage that? So fragmented system, product focus, these are the problems. These are the challenges that today keep the organizations from being able to provide those kind of experiences. So how do you stay ahead of the game? You don't really need to wear the red cape, then you have to join Tech Blocks. I'll keep harping this. In any organization, we talked about having agile culture, right? We talked about agility, build small incubators. What will they do? What you need to do is hire hybrids, people who understand technology, people who understand user experience, and understand what strategy you are trying to drive. What is your ultimate KPI that you are trying to drive? And most importantly, it is a customer-centric approach. Who are you selling? What are you selling? What is your value proposition? What is your distinction? What is the experience they are looking for? It is all based around experiences. And then you figure out what systems you have and you need in place to be able to provide those experiences, not vice versa. Not the tail wagging the dog wagging the tail. So, remember I told you that I'm going to talk about some of the real scenarios that are going to happen? So when we say omnichannel reality, a lot of people just associate the word omnichannel reality with e-commerce experiences, right? You have been reading about this so much when it comes to Canadian Tire, all these big companies who are making omnichannel a reality, right? You can shop online, you can shop on the store, you can shop in between, and those experiences come in. But most important omnichannel experiences are actually coming in the operational areas. How many of you guys had the internet run out or cable run out and this guy in the branded motor van drives to your home, comes with a weird device? How many of you? Okay, great. You don't have any device in your home. That's fantastic. You're disconnected. Matrix, all the way. So, those guys come in with, I can tell you because we work with those big telecom companies. They come in with Apple or Android phone. They have these applications and they troubleshoot everything and they keep entering a bunch of gibberish that they never tell you what they do. They'll call this secret line which they directly have, which they don't have to wait, but you have to wait, right? And they will do magically, hopefully they'll solve the problem. If they don't, they will leave and they will leave a bunch of data for the other guy to come in and they will solve the problem, whether it's a new installation, whether troubleshooting. One of those companies we are working with, and I cannot divulge the name for obvious reasons, is going to make this an omnichannel reality. So you will be able to troubleshoot yourself. So that information that's available to that secret guy who comes in the van should be available to you very easily. You can follow the wizard steps and you can, hey, guess what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to be able to solve the problem. I love my couch and the small blanket I put on once I get to office, and I hate to pick up the phone if my cable goes off. I would rather hit the buttons and do all the things sitting in my couch rather than be on a phone with somebody trying to figure out, call somebody, which I might miss a game. So I can troubleshoot myself. Now, those troubleshooting will be available not only on web, not only on your devices, and so on and so forth, but also on the retail stores. And once you do that, guess what? Worst case happened. I was not able to solve the problem. Shoot, the dreaded phone call. What's your first name, sir? What's your last name? What's your SIN number? Where are you? How is that relevant to the problem I'm having? Okay. What you can do, though, with them, is all the steps that you followed, you can continue from there the moment you make the call. Without asking, sir, who are you? What's your name? What all the steps you have done? So that they can immediately take the diagnostics information, all the stuff that you have, and they get to the next step and solve the problem. See the continuum? Remember that formula I talked about? Take the phone, take the browser experience, and be able to continue with it? Troubleshooting between people, sharing people's information, that becomes a reality very soon. Now that's a positive customer experience that we are talking about. Self-service is going to be even more powerful. Have you ever wondered, and I don't know, maybe I like wondering too much. Have you bought phones, and why do you have to learn for a help to go to another computer to be, wasn't our phone supposed to be connected? Sometimes if you forget what this cloud ID is, which not everybody is very, very smart about, right? What is this ID? What email do I know? Is it Apple email? Some people who do not understand IT, unfortunately. Oh, let me go to YouTube and everything. And there's FAQs and self-service there. But shouldn't the phone itself tell you? Isn't it already connected? Isn't it a communication device which does not connect with you till you charge it up? It should be charged right from the first time you buy it. Why aren't telecom companies thinking about that? Why isn't there an embedded thing in the apps which self-guides you and does everything and tells you video-wise, visually? Because I'm a visual person, I'm sure every human is. Most of the humans are. Those are the kind of self-service experiences that you start seeing come into picture. Integrated across services. Integrated across services and personalization and being predictive. So that people, when they approach you, we already know what your problems are. I can provide more intelligent advice. I can provide you more intelligent services across you and your multiple devices, across your family where you can share. And if you're in small business or large businesses, imagine how many groups there are. And guess who is managing those data plans shared amongst employees and groups? Somebody like an office admin who is not technology savvy, who does not want to spend their entire time trying to figure out how all these plans will work and what is the cheapest way and best way. So those kind of things, integrated experiences across services is going to be key. So, how do we achieve this? Customer first. A lot of times people come to our website and say, Prashant, this is a marketing slogan, right? Customer first, customer first. It's not. It applies to the culture you have, the kind of people you hire, the way they think. Do they start always from your strategy KPIs? Do they always create your experience first? Whether they're building your website, whether they're building your CRM system, whether they're building your self-billing system, which make recommendations, all these things, where the process, people, technology that you build are all customer-centric, experience-centric. And then leveraging that data to drive those experiences and get data about those experiences that will give you more intelligence and will allow you to open new business channels, and they will tell you where to go. Your customers tell you what to do rather than you telling your customers what they need to do. You see how we turn this whole upside down? There's no secret. It's just the way you think as an organization has to change. The philosophy, the culture in the organization needs to be aligned to what you need to do. And that's where you hire the people who think like that. Then you apply process which allows collaboration. People put all these things, and they always put not my idea, not your idea. Best idea which is flushed, which is challenged by data from there, and then you validate those ideas and create and put them to market in an iterative fashion. You do that, 3 things, and you start to begin to get choices, and the path illuminates itself. towards providing the right experience, right application. It's not about the color. It's not about the font. It's not about the sexy stuff. It's about customer experience. And those things allow you to create best possible solution. So that brings me to my last slide. We are TechBlocks. I promised you that I would tell you who we are at the end. We are an organization, technology company. What distinguishes us? We talk about strategy, technology, and creative. We think we are a perfect confluence of it. We don't bring in these things in stages. We have all these three things mixed in our DNA. It is in our hiring. It is in our culture. It's the way we talk to you. In our engagements with our clients, we think all the three are equally important for any engagement to succeed. And digital transformation, although we have kind of divided into these chunks of CMS, CRM, e-commerce, mobile, cloud, BI, they are essentially different facets of an experience that you are trying to create. They are just enablers of a larger experience that you want to achieve. Whether you want to build a mobile application to sell a phone and data plan, you still want to know who buys what their behavioral habits are, collect data BI. You want to be fast, go to market, go to cloud. Right? Leverage cloud. Don't need to call that IT guy who will give you 5 days to order the server and then patch it and talk about all the other things that you don't need to know about. You just need to go to market fast. E-commerce, CRM. So these are different facets of those experiences that we talk about. So we eat, breathe, and sleep all these three things. We talk about experiences. That was my session for today. I'm not going to promise you any white paper so that you could give me your contact info for my CRM. If you feel like it, you can walk over to me and we can have another conversation after this, offline as well. I have a few of my colleagues here. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask at this point. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Any questions so far?
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.